Sir, I need to see your ID right now.
I'm leaving work. Is there an issue?
I didn't ask that. You match a
A
description.
description of what exactly?
Hands where I can see them.
So I work in this building.
Sure you do. Turn around. Hands behind your back.
Officer Mitchell had no idea what he just walked into. In the next 72 hours, his badge would be stripped, his pension would be suspended, and a federal civil rights lawsuit would be filed for $15.8 million. The man he just handcuffed outside the courthouse steps wasn't some employee. He was Justice Raymond Clark, a sitting Supreme Court justice for the state, with 22 years on the bench. Justice Clark had heard over 4,000 cases. He wrote landmark decisions on police misconduct. He taught classes at the State Police Academy on constitutional rights. He left the courthouse after a 12-hour day of hearings, wearing his usual suit, briefcase in hand. And the courthouse security cameras were capturing everything: the illegal stop, the refusal to listen, the moment a decorated judge was forced into handcuffs in front of a dozen witnesses. Before I continue, let me ask you something. Have you ever been treated unfairly by someone in power? Drop your answer in the comments. But Officer Mitchell had no idea who he was handcuffing. Justice Raymond Clark was 58 years old. He was appointed to the Supreme Court in 2003. The vote was unanimous. He graduated from Harvard Law School. Before becoming a judge, he worked as a federal prosecutor for 8 years. He specialized in civil rights violations. Here's what makes this even more important. Justice Clark wrote 12 landmark decisions on Fourth Amendment rights. That's the amendment that protects people from unlawful searches. 3 of those cases involved wrongful arrest. His decisions are required reading at the State Police Academy, the same academy that trained Officer Mitchell. Justice Clark was also the first Black Supreme Court justice in state history. He grew up in the same neighborhood where he was arrested. In 1989, he lost his younger brother to police violence. His brother was 19 years old. On this Tuesday afternoon in June, Justice Clark was just trying to get to his car. He had spent 12 hours hearing cases. He was tired. He wanted to go home. That's it. Now here's what happened next. Officer Derek Mitchell had a reputation in the department. He was 34 years old. He had been a cop for 9 years. He worked in the patrol division. He had 4 awards for arrests. But he also had 7 formal complaints in 4 years. Every single one involved black men. Every single one was dismissed by internal affairs. Let me tell you about 3 of those complaints. In 2021, he pulled over a black driver during a traffic stop. The driver claimed excessive force. The department settled quietly for $45,000. In 2022, he detained a black teenager in a park. He searched the teen without permission. The complaint was dismissed. Then, just 3 months before this incident, he detained a black attorney outside the same courthouse. The attorney was released after a supervisor stepped in. The department knew about this pattern. Internal emails show that supervisors flagged him for racial profiling, but they only recommended additional training. That's it, more training. Officer Mitchell kept his badge. He kept his gun. He kept patrolling the streets. On this day, Officer Mitchell was about to make the mistake that would end his career, and it would expose a department that had protected him for years. Type accountability in the comments if you think this pattern should have been stopped sooner. It was Tuesday, June 18, 2024. The time was 6:47 p.m. The state Supreme Court building sits in the downtown district. Marble steps face Main Street. The late afternoon sun was still bright. Rush hour traffic was building up. It was a normal end of business day. Court staff were leaving for the day. Attorneys walked by with briefcases. Security guards were changing shifts. The temperature was 78 degrees, clear skies. About 12 to 15 people were on the steps and sidewalk. 3 courthouse security guards were present. 2 court reporters were there. Bailiff James Peterson was heading out. Officer Mitchell was on foot patrol. 6 minutes earlier, he got a radio call about a suspicious person near the courthouse. Later, it would be proven that call was for a different block entirely. At 6:45 p.m., Justice Clark exited the south entrance. He wore a gray suit, maroon tie. He carried his briefcase. He walked toward the parking structure. Officer Mitchell spotted him from across the street. He immediately approached. No greeting, just a command. "Stop right there." Justice Clark stopped. He looked confused. He looked around. "Is there a problem, officer?" In the next 90 seconds, everything would change. If stories like this matter to you, hit that subscribe button. The officer demanded ID. He didn't explain why. Justice Clark asked calmly what this was about. The officer refused to answer. He just said, "You match a description." Justice Clark explained he was a judge leaving work. Officer Mitchell showed clear doubt on his face. "Sure you are, ID now." Justice Clark reached slowly for his wall. Officer Mitchell suddenly shouted, "Don't move." He grabbed Justice Clark's arm. Justice Clark froze. His voice stayed calm. "I'm complying. I'm just getting my ID." "You were reaching. Turn around. Hands behind your back." "Officer, this is a misunderstanding. I work in this building." Officer Mitchell started putting handcuffs on him. Justice Clark kept his voice level. "I'm asking you to check with courthouse security. They know me." "Stop resisting. You're making this worse." Justice Clark wasn't resisting, but Officer Mitchell increased the force anyway. "I said stop resisting." Justice Clark's briefcase fell, papers spilled across the steps, legal documents scattered everywhere. Then other people started reacting. Bailiff Peterson recognized what was happening. He shouted out loud, "That's Justice Clark." A security guard ran over. A court reporter pulled out her phone. She started recording. Officer Mitchell had Justice Clark in handcuffs now. He pushed him toward the patrol car parked at the curb. Justice Clark's face was against the vehicle. A crowd started gathering. Someone in the crowd yelled out, "That's a judge." More people pulled out their phones. More people started recording. Officer Mitchell didn't stop. He didn't check. He didn't listen. What Officer Mitchell didn't know was this. Justice Clark had memorized every police misconduct case in the state. He had written the law on unlawful arrest. He had taught officers how not to do what was happening right now. And he was living through it. Wait until you hear what happens when security finally gets through to him. Courthouse Security Supervisor Maria Hendricks arrived. Her badge was visible, radio in hand. She saw what was happening. "Officer, stop. That is Justice Raymond Clark, Supreme Court Justice. Release him immediately." Officer Mitchell looked at her with dismissal. "I don't care who he says he is. He matched a description. I'm doing my job." He refused to remove the handcuffs. Supervisor Hendricks stepped closer. Her voice was firm. "I'm telling you as courthouse security that you have the wrong person. Check your radio call. This is not your suspect." Other witnesses started speaking up. Bailiff James Peterson had worked at the courthouse for 15 years. "I see Justice Clark every single day. Officer, you've made a terrible mistake." Attorney Sarah Kim was exiting the courthouse. She had just left a hearing. "I argued before him 2 hours ago. He was in court, on the bench. What are you doing?" Court reporter Linda Martinez was filming on her phone. She spoke up too. "I've transcribed his cases for 8 years. Everyone here knows him. This is wrong." By now, 6 phones were recording from different angles. The courthouse security cameras covered the entire south entrance. The radio timestamp would later prove Officer Mitchell's suspect call was for a different location, 4 blocks away. At 6:54 p.m., Officer Mitchell's supervisor arrived. That was 7 minutes into the incident. Sergeant Davis recognized Justice Clark immediately. He ordered Mitchell to remove the handcuffs. Mitchell hesitated. "I said remove THEM, now." The moment the handcuffs came off, Justice Clark straightened his suit. He looked directly at Officer Mitchell. His voice was quiet, but it was his judge voice, the voice that had sentenced hundreds of people. "Officer, I need your badge number." Everyone froze. Officer Mitchell's face changed. Confusion became recognition. Recognition became panic. A captain arrived at 6:58 p.m. Captain Robert Chen wore his full uniform. He approached Justice Clark with clear respect. "Justice Clark, I cannot apologize enough. Are you hurt?" The investigation started immediately. Captain Chen reviewed the courthouse footage on security office monitors. Radio dispatch confirmed the truth. Officer Mitchell's suspect call was for a black male in his 20s, white t-shirt, 600 block of Market Street. That was 4 blocks away. Completely different description. Officer Mitchell's story fell apart piece by piece. He claimed Justice Clark matched the description. The suspect was in his 20s wearing a t-shirt. Justice Clark was 58 in a full suit, different block entirely. He claimed Justice Clark was acting suspicious. Security footage showed Justice Clark simply walking to his car, the same route he took every day for years. He claimed Justice Clark resisted when he tried to get ID. 6 witness phones plus security footage showed Justice Clark calmly complying, hands visible, no resistance. Captain Chen made his decision on the spot. He placed Officer Mitchell on immediate leave. He took his badge. He took his service weapon. Right there on the scene, he ordered an internal affairs investigation. He personally walked Justice Clark to his vehicle. He gave Justice Clark his direct contact number. Officer Mitchell's reaction changed as the evidence piled up. At first, he was defensive. "I was following procedure." Then he went silent as they reviewed the evidence. When witnesses showed their phone footage, he refused to comment. He left the scene without looking at anyone. Justice Clark declined medical help, but he accepted the captain's offer to have someone drive him home. The courthouse security chief personally apologized. Witnesses gave their statements. Court reporter Linda Martinez backed up her footage to the cloud immediately. By now, Officer Mitchell was starting to understand. He had just arrested one of the most powerful judges in the state, on camera, in front of witnesses, without any legal reason. Let me know in the comments what you think should happen to officers who do this. The investigation moved fast. Captain Chen reviewed everything. The courthouse footage was clear. The radio dispatch confirmed Officer Mitchell had the wrong location. The suspect description didn't match at all. Let me break down how Officer Mitchell's claims fell apart. Claim 1, he said Justice Clark matched the description. The reality, the suspect was described as a black male in his 20s wearing a white t-shirt on the 600 block of Market Street. Justice Clark was 58 years old in a full suit, 4 blocks away from where the suspect was reported. Claim 2, he said Justice Clark was acting suspicious. The reality, security footage showed Justice Clark walking the same route he took every single day, straight from the courthouse exit to the parking structure, nothing suspicious at all. Claim 3, he said Justice Clark resisted when he tried to ID him. The reality, 6 different witness phones captured the interaction, plus courthouse security cameras. Every single piece of footage showed Justice Clark calmly complying, hands visible at all times, zero resistance. The decision was made on the spot. Captain Chen placed Officer Mitchell on administrative leave immediately. He confiscated his badge and service weapon right there. He ordered a full internal affairs investigation. He personally made sure Justice Clark got to his vehicle safely. He gave Justice Clark his direct phone number. Officer Mitchell's behavior changed as the truth came out. At first, he tried to defend himself. "I was following procedure." But as they reviewed the evidence, he went quiet. When witnesses showed him the phone recordings, he refused to say anything. He left the scene 30 minutes later. He didn't look at anyone. The immediate aftermath was handled carefully. Justice Clark didn't need medical attention, but Captain Chen offered to have someone drive him home. The courthouse security chief came out personally to apologize. All the witnesses stayed to give official statements. Court reporter Linda Martinez had already backed up her video to the cloud. 3 different security cameras had captured the entire incident from multiple angles with audio. The timestamps matched perfectly with the witness videos. Officer Mitchell drove away at 7:32 p.m. His career was already over. He just didn't know how bad it would get. But the consequences were just beginning. Someone had been recording from the moment the handcuffs went on, and they had already hit post. If you believe police officers need better accountability, hit that subscribe button. We expose stories like this every week. Court reporter Linda Martinez uploaded a 90-second clip at 7:15 p.m. She posted it to Twitter with this caption: "Just watched a cop arrest Supreme Court Justice Raymond Clark for no reason outside his own courthouse. This is America." By 8:00 p.m., the video had 47,000 views. A local civil rights attorney with 200,000 followers shared it. By 9:30 p.m., it was trending #1 in the state. Local news crews showed up at the courthouse. By 11:00 p.m., national news was covering it. CNN legal analysts were weighing in. The hashtag Justice for Justice Clark was trending nationally. By midnight, the video had 2.3 million views across Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. Let me break down those numbers. Twitter had 2.3 million views. TikTok had 1.8 million views from 4 different angles that people reposted. Instagram had 890,000 views. Reddit put it on the front page. 2 different subreddits were discussing it. The comments were powerful. Here are some real reactions. If they'll arrest a Supreme Court justice on courthouse steps, what are they doing to regular people? This is the man who teaches cops about constitutional rights, and they did this to him. That cop's career is over. Notice how everything changed the second they realized who he was. Now imagine when they don't care. Every local TV station led with the story. By 10 p.m., it was on national news. Legal experts were calling it textbook racial profiling. They called it a clear civil rights violation. The police department issued a statement at 10:30 p.m. The chief said they were taking it seriously. Full investigation underway. Officer on administrative leave. Officer Mitchell tried damage control. His Facebook account. NT was deleted by 9 p.m. His LinkedIn was removed by 10 p.m., but it was too late. Screenshots were everywhere. 3 days later, Justice Clark filed a federal lawsuit. Comment below if you think this officer got what he deserved. On June 21st, just 3 days later, Justice Clark filed a federal civil rights lawsuit. He sued under Section 1983. That's the law that protects people from government officials violating their rights. He sued for $15.8 million. His claims were specific: unlawful detention, false arrest, excessive force, racial profiling, violation of Fourth Amendment rights, violation of 14th Amendment rights. The discovery process revealed something bigger. Officer Mitchell had 7 previous complaints. All of them involved black men. Internal affairs emails showed supervisors knew about the pattern. Training records showed Mitchell failed the racial bias training twice. They let him retake it until he passed. GPS data proved Mitchell was 4 blocks away from where his actual suspect was reported. 8 months later, the department settled. The amount, $12.4 million. Justice Clark donated the entire amount to a civil rights legal defense fund. The department also paid $380,000 in legal fees. Total cost to taxpayers, $12.78 million. Officer Mitchell was terminated 6 days after the incident. The police union didn't even fight it. He applied to 11 different police departments in nearby counties. All 11 rejected him. His law enforcement career was over at age 34. The department faced consequences too. The police chief was forced to resign. Captain Chen, who responded properly, got promoted. 3 internal affairs investigators were reassigned. The department had to do a complete policy overhaul. Officer Mitchell faced no criminal charges. The DA declined to prosecute, but he was named as a defendant in the federal lawsuit. It's on his permanent record. He can never work in law enforcement again. The systemic changes were bigger. The federal government imposed a consent decree on the department. The Department of Justice would monitor their hiring, training, and discipline for 5 years. Body cameras became mandatory. The department had fought against them for years. Now all racial profiling complaints go to an independent review board. Justice Clark made a statement at the settlement announcement. This was never about money. This was about accountability. If this can happen to me, with my position, my resources, my knowledge of the law, imagine what happens every single day to people who don't have those things. But the story didn't end with money or policy changes. 2 weeks after the settlement, Justice Clark held a press conference. He stood on the courthouse steps, the same location where he was arrested. He spoke for 8 minutes. His words were powerful. I've spent 22 years on the bench. I've seen thousands of cases. I've read countless accounts of unlawful stops, racial profiling, excessive force. But until you experience the feeling of handcuffs on your wrists when you've done nothing wrong, when you're just trying to go home, you don't fully understand. You don't understand the violation, the humiliation, the rage. He continued, I have every advantage, credentials, knowledge, resources, visibility, and even with all of that, I was powerless in that moment. Now multiply that by every person who gets stopped without those advantages, every person who doesn't know their rights, every person who can't afford an attorney, every person without cameras watching. His message was clear. You have rights, you have dignity, you do not have to accept abuse of power. He spoke directly to law enforcement. The badge is a responsibility, not a shield. Accountability isn't the enemy of good policing, it's the foundation of it. He explained what he wanted to see change. Real oversight, real consequences, real change, not training courses that officers can fail and retake, not internal investigations that protect bad cops, not settlements paid by taxpayers while officers keep their badges. He thanked the witnesses who spoke up. He thanked courthouse security. He thanked the citizens who demanded accountability. His closing words stayed with everyone. This happened on courthouse steps, the very steps where people come seeking justice. If we can't guarantee justice there, where can we guarantee it? This case exposed something bigger than one officer. FBI data shows Black Americans are 2.5 times more likely to be killed by police. A Department of Justice study found Black drivers are 20% more likely to be stopped. They're twice as likely to be searched. Justice Clark had advantages most people don't have. He had judicial power, top attorneys, immediate visibility, 6 witnesses with phones, courthouse security backing him up, a national platform. Most people have none of these things. So let me ask you something. Do we really believe Officer Mitchell was just one bad apple, or was he the product of a system that protects bad apples until they do something this visible? Do we really believe Justice Clark would have been released so quickly if those witnesses hadn't recognized him? Or would he have spent the night in a cell like thousands of others? Do we really believe this was about one officer's mistake, or is it about a pattern we've been watching play out for decades? Because if we don't demand real accountability, if we don't change the structures that protect misconduct, then we're just waiting for the next Derek Mitchell, the next Raymond Clark, the next viral video that makes us angry for 48 hours before we move on. Comment below if you believe police officers should carry personal liability insurance like doctors and lawyers. If you think stories like this matter, hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep exposing these patterns. We're going to keep demanding better. We're going to keep fighting for accountability, for transparency, for a justice system that actually delivers justice for everyone. This isn't just about one cop or one judge. It's about all of us and the system we are willing to tolerate. See you in the next one.